Okay, so I'm just going to do a quick little off-the-cuff video here that's very different to what I normally do, just because I want to get something off my chest before Endgame comes out. There's been lots of theories and speculation about what's going to happen in the movie all over the place, all sorts of articles and all the rest of it. And I do have my own kind of dream scene that I kind of want to see happen, but that I don't think at any point actually is going to happen. And it involves kind of wrapping up Chris Evans' storyline as Captain America Steve Rogers. So a lot of people are kind of speculating that Endgame is going to involve time travel in some capacity, which it almost certainly will. They have the Time Stone to start with, and they also have the Quantum Realm having, like, time vortexes in it or something, I don't know. But if they do end up bringing in time travel, I would love to see Steve Rogers use that to go back in time so he can actually have his date with Peggy. Because I really think that would help to kind of wrap up his story arc and give that character some closure before you give him a nice send-off. So what I'm kind of picturing for this scene is that it's towards the end of the movie, the Avengers have already defeated Thanos and everyone's starting to come back from the snapping, but then maybe they kind of realize that they've become time duplicates by doing so, and so then they start to fade away, kind of Back to the Future style. And I know that's kind of bullshit cop-out time travel, but I think we can get away with it here because they get away with it literally in every other movie that's ever done time travel. You can probably even have characters like Captain Marvel or Doctor Strange come in and explain why this is happening, but they're all just sort of fading away into non-existence because there are other versions of them running around who survive the snapping and all the rest of this stuff, so they can't exist in this reality anymore. Steve looks down at the time travel device and then he looks around at all the other Avengers and he says, there's just one thing I need to take care of first, and then he goes back in time. And then that's when we hard cut to the outside of the Stork Club, which is the bar where Steve and Peggy agreed to meet on their date. You cut inside to the swing club and there's lots of people dancing on the floor to this, 1940s jazz music. Everyone's having a really good time, and then behind them is Peggy just sitting at the bar, somberly having a drink. She can be there with her boyfriend from Agent Carter, whose name I don't really remember, I am sorry. But basically you have a scene where he walks up to her and he goes, I thought I'd find you here. It's the anniversary, isn't it? And they start talking about how it's the anniversary of when Steve crashed his plane into the ocean to save everybody. And then you can kind of give Peggy this moment when she reflects on them agreeing on the date and being all like, we said 8 o'clock at the Stork Club. And she can kind of say how lots of soldiers have gravestones and other things to memorialize them, but she doesn't really have that with Steve. And she feels like this is the only way she can truly honor his memory. And then just as she says that, boyfriend looks off behind her, and then she turns around and there he is, Steve Rogers, standing there in his full army uniform. And he just smiles at her and says, hey, sorry I'm late. And of course she's completely shocked. She's just looking up at him like, Steve, how is any of this possible, yada yada yada. And he's like, look, I don't really have a lot of time to explain everything that I've been through over the past couple of years. But if it's all the same with you, I'd really like that dance now. I mean, after all, I still need someone to teach me. And then she just looks back at her boyfriend, she looks back at Steve, and she says, of course. And the band starts playing something slow, they walk off together. Peggy takes Steve onto the dance floor and she says, okay, just follow my lead. Steve goes, of course. And they just waltz for a little bit. And Peggy's again just like, I don't understand how any of this is possible. And Steve just says, I've seen a great many things I didn't think were possible. And I didn't think for a moment I'd ever end up back here with you. She just puts her head on Steve's shoulders, he puts his hand around her, and he just whispers into her ear, Peggy, whatever happens, just promise me you'll do one thing. Just live your best life. Oh, and say hi to Howard for me, and could you tell him for me that his son is a real jerk? And Peggy can look up and be like, his son? And then Steve can have this moment of like, I have been through a hell of a ride, and it would take way too long to explain all of it. But I wouldn't trade it for anything, Peggy. And then he just slowly fades away into nothing. And then Peggy is left standing in the middle of the dance floor alone with no one around. And then she turns behind her and she sees her boyfriend, whose name again I can't remember, and I feel really bad about that. And she just walks over to him, takes his hand, and they walk off together. And we fade out on just the swing club with the music playing. And that's how you end Captain America's story. Obviously, I don't have the finer details worked out, but that's just the bulk of what I would want to see in that scene. If it ever happens, which it probably won't. But hey, it's fun to speculate, right? Thanks for tuning in. I wasn't really sure how to do a video like this because it's not what I usually do, but it was nice just to get that off my chest. Been nice to try something new, I guess. Thank you for watching the show. If you enjoyed, please let me know. You can like and share, subscribe if you dare, and please leave a comment below.